ఎందరో మహానుభావులు అందరికీ వందనము. The excavation has been carried out at Gudnapura right from 1990s to 1994, 95 and 96 also, and I was called in the last fag end of the Gudnapura excavation, wherein I was asked by Dr. K.P. Punacha, who was very kind enough to consider me as a befitting personality to carry out excavation, and according to his inscriptions, I went to Gudnapura, wherein excavation had been conducted by my late colleague Vishweshwara and his colleagues, wherein we had found a beautiful palace structure as per the inscription at Gudnapura, that is of Kadamba Ravivarma. Now we straight away go into the slides. Here we like to know, the first one is excavations, the other one at the extreme left side, your right side, is Bodhisattva. These two indicate the prevalence of Buddhism at Banavasi on a grand scale, and that great Yaksha image found from a kiln of the Shatavahana period of second century, which was a kiln which used to make toys as well as images for the benefit of the Banavasi people and the children over there. Then here at the bottom is the inscription of Bhutapala of Vaijayanti, who records that he went to the Chaitya Karla, and here it is to be known it is a 1st century BC, 1st century AD inscription, clearly indicating that Banavasi was an affluent city already. Here the pages of history of Gudnapura, Banavasi and Talagunda, in preambling the early history of Karnataka between 3rd century BC and 6th century AD, is like a fairy tale and is fairly well known. ಇದನ್ನು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಬನವಾಸಿ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಆಮೂಲಾಗ್ರವಾಗಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕ್ರೋಢೀಕರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ವಿಷಯ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ್ದು, ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಡಾಟಾ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ connects and throws a welcome light on Chutu Shatavahana history. The reason for their non-publication, save an occasional reference and not appearing in the ASA reports, might have annoyed scholars and students of history and archaeology alike. This was due to continuous pressure of work, transfers, Kanaganalli and Sanati excavations, striving to assemble the Ziksa puzzle of Maha Alida Chaitya and Ashoka at Kanaganalli. I do admit humbly that I should have egged out some time, which unfortunately my elephantine laziness also sometimes took over my intentions. Better late than never. Now, it is dedicated to labours of Gudnapura, Banavasi and Talagunda, and also this is the last picture alive of late M.V. Vishweshwara, the greatest scholar of Sanskrit and archaeology. He was there. Kindly understand this. He was there when I read that inscription. He is carefully jotting down the points and analyzing the inscription himself. Archaeological Survey of India, Mid-Southern Circle, carried out excavations at Gudnapura in 1989, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94 on a mound where the mutilated Kadamba box-headed character inscription was found, over which a temple of Veerabhadra was found. So this is the grand sunset that you get from the royal palace of Kadamba Ravivarma, which was excavated. It is on the western side of the Manmatha Veshma, wherein a separate platform was created over which people can sit, relax and enjoy this grandiose sunset every day. This is that famous inscription Gudnapur, which was lying, discovered by 1917 by archaeologist B.R. Gopal and Professor Sundara. The inscription is on a 20-foot pillar. You know the rest of the details, 27 lines. The Kannada characters, Kannada alphabets, characters are to be seen, box-headed characters. And this inscription, the content of this inscription made archaeologists to indulge in excavation wherein the inscription has said, a Manmatha Veshma has been built, a hall of dance has been built. At the same time, Rajantapura is here there. So, when it is for Madanotsava, kindly remember the holy celebrations we are indulging in even today. So this is the earliest reference of holy celebrations, because the inscription in its narration says the king and queen and the royalty and the nobility alike would go in procession, color themselves, as well as worship the statues of Rati and Manmatha, the Vasantotsava, Mandanila, the breeze blowing, everything put together. And the excavation result also very well supported it, as you see further. This is the close-up of the inscription, wherein inscription-based excavations were taken up for the first time in Karnataka by Bangalore Circle of Archaeological Survey of India. Credit goes to Dr. K.P. Poonacha, Sirsi Taluk, Sarva Taluk, and here below the Veerabhadra temple, a temple of Veerabhadra was built. Now this is the location of your Banavasi, Gudnapura and the environs over there. Adapare Janapadaha, Dravidaha, Keralaha, Ratya Mushikaha, Vanavasikaha, Mahabharata says. Mahabharata refers to Banavasi, Vaijayanti in its quoting Atah Pare Janapadaha, in the Janapadaha, Dravidaha, Keralaha, clearly says Ratya Mushikaha and Vanavasikaha is Mahabharata quotes this. Now, the spade of archaeologists at Gudnapura, the team, see, usually we forget to mention the people who participated in various excavations at Archaeological Survey of India. Unless you go through Indian Archaeology Review, you won't get to see their names. As such, an observation will be made, loose observation will be made, that so and so doesn't know excavation. So that is the tragedy. Here it is Dr. K.P. Poonacha, S.S. Nayak, late M.V. Vishweshwara, Dr. C.S. Sheshadri, S.G. Samak, myself, Kalimuttu, Somla Nayak, Ashok, late B.K. Unitan, M.V. Mallikarjuna, M. Hadapar, late Sripati and late Sri S.V. Bhatt of Banvasi, Sadananda Nayaka. These were the people who excavated the Gudnapura Banvasi region, wherein their efforts are seen in this grandiose exposition of the structures. Right in the forecourt in front of you is Rajavasa Graha of Kadamba Ravivarma. 519 is the date. When observed carefully, it is found that the complex of structures had been found exposed in north-south orientation in an area of 3,500 square meters. The structures are built using bricks of 38-23 meters. When I took over to complete the excavation, these are found below the present Veerabhadra Swami temple in north-south orientation. So I have given the orientation, the location, and about the mount. Here is clear picture. Now you can note that Veerabhadra modern temple is there, built by in the later Chalukyan times. Then we have Rajavasagraha, and to its Vama, to its left, that's what is in the inscription, Antapura. In front is your Manmatha Veshma with Garbhagraha, Mandapa, inner Pradakshina, and this is, you can see the moldings. Already Tripattakumudha molding has come. Kantha is there, large Kantha is there. The entrances are there. So the back side you can see that a stretch of rectangular piece of structure that becomes your Vedika over which this temple are constructed. And right in front of the Manmatha temple or the Veshma is a paved courtyard which has got a Mogasale Mandapa, where that lady sits is the Mogasale Mandapa. This is the exposed Manmatha Veshma, Rajavasagraha and Antapura at a glance. So here you have the Manmatha Veshma, with a Pradakshina, with the Garbhagriha and Mahamandapa. To the south of Manmata Veshma, look at the point north indicator. To the south of Manmata Veshma is Rajavasagriha, over which Veerabhadra temple rises. To the left is greatly disturbed Antapura. Then at the extreme end, southern servants' quarters are there. Right opposite to Manmata Veshma are the two dancing halls built side by side. The eastern one has a frontier courtyard and an entrance Mukhamandapa. The left one immediately to the north of Manmata Veshma has a Chandrashila and a central Vedika and entrances on four sides. And on the northern side and western side, numerous spouted vessels were discovered. That area, this region, spouted vessels of assorted different spouts sized vessels were found around these two platforms. Here, perhaps placing of liquor intoxicants in this region to indulge in pleasures. And here is a platform for the king to watch the proceedings, indicating it was an open Nartana Mandapa which had a clear view of the royal platform. Now here the entire complex has an open courtyard all around with a Magasala Mandapa with two chambers at north and south, and we have servants' quarters and the drainage system over here. This was the great entrance and this was the pillar inscription. So at a glance, the entire Manmata Veshma found at Gudnapura is placed before you. Now, this is the Manmata Veshma platform for the king, the Vedika in the center to keep the images of Manmatha and Rati, the platform for offerings of drinks, the entrance, special inner enclosure wall, the eastern entrance of the northern Nartana Mandapa, and that is Veerabhadra temple. Ullasat Nrittasale Dve. That's what the inscription says. For the pleasure, Ullasat, for the pleasure, Nrittasale Dve. Clearly the inscription itself says, for the sake of pleasure, there were two hall of dances. One hall of dance immediately to the north here of the Rajavasagriha was meant for royalty and nobility, and on the eastern side, outside the enclosure wall of Rajavasagriha with a separate Mukhamandapa, that was the eastern, nearer the inscription, it was meant for the servants and common people who served at this particular Rajavasagriha. This was exclusively meant for the king. That's why we find the dais exclusively for the king to seat himself and enjoy the Amoda Pramoda that happened here. A close look of this. You have the eastern gate, the northern gate, open court to resume intoxicants at north. Here, plenty of pots, sherds, spouted vessels were found, and there was an entrance gate towards the west, and the central platform for keeping the Rati Manmata wooden images. So elsewhere it is said that the Hall of Dance built for pleasure Madanotsava community festival to welcome the spring, a 1600-year-old tradition which is celebrated with the same vigor and vibrance. The main hall of dance to the opposite of Manmata Veshma and the King's Pavilion had a central podium with a niche or elevated platform or ledge for keeping the image of Manmata, obviously of wood, to be taken in procession to be consigned into flames. So the northeastern view, northeastern view of the Manmata Veshma, Manmata temple, the open courtyard, the Veerabhadra temple, the king's platform, then passage between the two hall of dancers. This was another enclosure wall. Then the Chandrashila, which was shown earlier in the drawing. And see the beautiful Gudda Tataka, the tank excavated for the same purpose, Madanotsava. A tank was cast on the heaped mound of the earth of the tank was caused a palace of royal purposes. Yasya punya nimagna bandho durgam cha yasyuru parvatam tena veshma manmathasjedam ravinam shirindrena karitam ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿ ವಸಂತೋತ್ಸವಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡಿದ ಈ ಶೃಂಗಾರ ಪ್ರಧಾನವಾದ ತೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವೇಶ್ಮ ಮನ್ಮಥಸ್ಯ, ಎ ವೇಶ್ಮ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮನ್ಮಥ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಕಾಸ್ಡ್ by Kshitindra, the ruler of the place, Ravindra. So it is in a very chaste Sanskrit poetry form, the inscription. It gives us the various data. Now a close-up of Manmatha Veshma. The sanctum is there, Manmatha Veshma, the pavilion, you can see the platform, the central, the front Mukhamandapa has pillars at periphery, the flight of steps, the open courtyard. So this is, if you are wondering what was Manmatha Veshma often referred to in the inscriptions, this is that Manmatha Veshma. Another view of the Manmatha Veshma from west, you can see the marked region is the pillar, location of pillars. Atasya kama jinalasya puja samskarartha masav ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿ ಮನ್ಮಥ ವೇಶ್ಮ ಕಾಮ ಜಿನಾಲಯ ಅಂದರೆ ಗೊಮ್ಮಟ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಗೊಮ್ಮಟ ಮೂರ್ತಿಯನ್ನು, ಜಿನಮೂರ್ತಿಯನ್ನು, ಸುಂದರತೆಗೆ ಪ್ರತೀಕವಾದ ಜಿನನನ್ನು, ಮನ್ಮಥನನ್ನು, ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸ್ಥಳ. ಅಪ್ಪ ನಾನು ಉತ್ಖನನ ಮಾಡಿದ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರ ದೂರದಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಜನರಲ್ ವ್ಯೂ ವೇಶ್ಮ ಇದೆ, ಓಪನ್ ಪೇವ್ಡ್ ಕೋಟೆ ಇದೆ, ಮೊಗಸಾಲೆ ಮಂಟಪ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದೇ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಚಿತ್ರಣ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ದೃಶ್ಯ ಮೊಗಸಾಲೆ ಮಂಟಪದ್ದು. ಇದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ದೃಶ್ಯ ಉತ್ತರದಿಂದ ರಾಜವಾಸಗೃಹ. ಮನ್ಮಥ ವೇಶ್ಮಕ್ಕೆ ದಕ್ಷಿಣದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜವಾಸಗೃಹ ಆಯಿತು. ದಕ್ಷಿಣೇಸ್ಯ ರಾಜವಾಸಗೃಹಂ ವಾಮೇ, ಅದರ ಎಡಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಮೆ ತಥಾ ಅಂತಃಪುರ ಉಲ್ಲಾಸಾತ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಚಿತ್ರಣ ಈಗ. Now here we find the inscription records Dakshinasye Rajavasagraham Tatantahpura for Ullasat. For the pleasure, there is that Rajavasagraha. Towards left of it, Vame, is Antahpura, the harem. So that is clearly seen in the next slide. Antahpura. You can see between Antahpura and Vasagraha, Rajavasagraha, there was a passage. This had a flight of steps where the scale is there, which would lead to Manmatha Veshma, the temple of Manmatha. From south, Atha Dakshinasya Rajavasagrahe, to the south of Manmatha Veshma is Rajavasagraha. So this is the passage between Antahpura, Rajavasagraha, and you can see both. This photo is taken clearly to show by 6th century, why 19? By 5th, 6th century itself, Agama texts were clearer in their expression, and the mouldings referred to in the Agamas already been put into practice here. For Rajavasagraha on one side, Manmatha Veshma on the other side, even for Antahpura, it means the traditional Adhisthana was that Pada, Upana, Adopadma, Tripattakumada. This was the characteristic feature. This has been built in stone as well as brick. Here you have the brick. This is supported by these expressions of the Agamas, wherein the Kurma Karandaka has also been found near the Manmata Veshma. The Kurma Karandaka, as referred to in the Agamas, to the northeast of the temple, the Kurma Karandaka has to be established. To this Manmata Veshma, to the northeast, we find the excavations, the Kurma Karandaka. This is the disturbed courtyard, Antapura, and here we have full-fledged, well-developed drainage system. Rains are heavy in these regions, so naturally every day during rainy season or even post-rainy season, there will be flow of water. To prevent the soil getting wet and the cold conditions rising up into the wall and making the receding unbearable, earlier they would build throughout the area, they would lay a Vedika, a foundation, over which the structures were built. This was the types of Adhisthana that has been found at Gudnapura. This is the Kurma Karandaka with semi-precious stones and material. And it is very simple. Look at the Kurma Karandaka. Simple. A base bowl with a lid, simple lid. Then we have got a new blue stone, we have one sapphire, we have one opal, we have one crystal. So here it was not specific of semi-precious stones, jewelry, bit of gold has to be interred. That was the saying. ನವರತ್ನಗಳನ್ನು ಇಡೋದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟು ಅನಂತರ ಬಂದಿರಬಹುದು. ಇಲ್ಲದ್ರೆ ಇವರು ನವರತ್ನಗಳನ್ನು ಇಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ನವರತ್ನಗಳನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೂ ಈ ಕೂರ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ even though the condition was there, now later times that they have to put navaratnas in the Kurma Karandaka. Here it is not so. So you will find the Karandaka. These were the different tiles. The tiles, these were the tiles for the walls. These are the tiles for the roof, sloping roof with various notches. These are the different type of spouts. This we have to see little detail because it is a temple of Manmatha. It is a temple of, it is a place of Manmatha Veshma, and it was meant for pleasure, constructed for pleasure. As said, we find men and women should drink one, this is from Kama Sutra of Vatsayana. Men and women should drink in one another's houses, and here the men should cause the public women to drink and should drink themselves liquors such as the Madhu, Aeria, Sara and Asata, which are of bitter and sour taste. Also drinks concocted. So the various apadravyas and various objects that have to be used. This is referred to in Vatsayana's Kama Sutra. You can just go through them. I wanted to make narration not monotonous, vibrant, but somehow people after crossing 60 are less vibrant. Here the various spouts, different spouts of assorted size, shapes that were used there. Visishte Kusumaha Gandhava. See here, the poetically the inscription records the climate and the environment and location of Manmatha Veshma was such that there was a pleasure breeze from south and southwest breezing, creating such a atmosphere with the grand flowers blossoming, and from their perfume the men and women would get excited. So poetically, if I don't express this from the inscription, the meaning and expression and the purpose of Manmata Veshma is lost. Now, different spouts and sprinklers, jewelry, iron knives, the Naga artists, the of later period, Banavasi. Banavasi has been variously eulogized, referred to, has a history right from 3rd century BC onwards, referred to in Mahabharata, and everyone who spoke about Banavasi, Vaijayanti, all these nomenclatures, they conveniently forgot Arankusavittadam Nenuvadanam Manam Banavasi Deshanam Main Dumbiyagi. This is because, why I was wondering why Main Dumbiyagi, Marikogileagi. The environment was such that when I studied the structures, wooden structures of Banavasi, even of today's recent period, the bees were burrowing into the wood structures. So, series of burrows circular were there. I asked one of the attendants, what is this? Can't you put a proper beam, such perforated beam? Sir, when we put it, it was verified. Later it has happened in 6 months, the bees have burrowed into it. So, why in those days Pampa also referred, let me be born as main Dumbiyagi. Why not compared with other insects? He compared it with Dumbi only. So he had seen their action. So we have the details of Banavasi here. The article gives you the everything, the all fortification followed by the moat and the entrance passages, and that is the region. That is the region where the kiln is there, and I got that beautiful yaksha from this kiln. Now, Madhukeshwara, let Madhukeshwara bless you. Here also people referring to Banavasi overlooked. ಅಲ್ಲಮನ ಮದ್ದಳೆಗೆ ಮಾಯೆ ನರ್ತಿಸುವ ಮಂಟಪವನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸಿ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಟಿಲ್ಲರೆಡ್ ಮಂಟಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. This is, here you see, sometimes when you go to the contemporary literature provides you sufficient data which you have to grasp, and once in a while ಡೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಆರ್ಕಿಯಾಲಜಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳಿಗೆ, ಟೇಬಲ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಟ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಮುದ ನೀಡುವಂತಹ ಸಮಾಚಾರ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಕಾಂಟೆಂಪರರಿ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಪೊಯೆಟಿಕಲಿ, so that it will be more likeable. Here this Nagashri inscription, the healthy Naga in twines, the inscription recorded at the periphery in the Shatavahana characters, and the inscription records the antiquity of Banavasi. This is the usually famous record that has been shown along with the Vasishti Putra Shivashri Pulumavi inscription to ascertain the antiquity of Banavasi. This is the excavation I carried out at Vodayas in his backdrop, and this is the stratigraphy at Banavasi, Vodayas backyard. 11 layers were there. This is the one which records you. Now at Vodayas backyard is in the apex of the mound of Banavasi. It is 150 meters northwest of Madhukeshwara temple. So our friend was conveying that he would excavate the premises of Madhukeshwara temple. It would be very much helpful for him to record the make notings of this excavation, so it will be helpful for him. Here is one section I have shown you closely, this is layer number 7, wherein we find a piece of cloth, and over this cloth bunch of copper coins of the Shatavahana periods were found. So here you can see, when we do the vertical excavation, whatever the amount of time pressure restrictions you have to definitely Be careful, otherwise you will miss such details. Wherein this cloth is also very smoothly, very carefully exposed by the labours of Gudnapura. Credit goes to them for having brought me close to this layer and shown me along with the coins. You can see at the back of the though they are the coins laid on the cloth. So here, this is when you excavate. If you are indulging in excavation as professors, lecturers, and teachers, do not forget to keep the scale at the place of excavation, which gives us a data as to which depth you have gone in. Here it reflects a 2-meter depth that you have achieved. You can see the stratigraphy. Unless you mark these layers clearly, you cannot clearly judge yourself. Here the ceiling layer of this brick structure is number 4. The layers contemporaneous are 5 and 6. The layer number 7 is the foundation layer. The layer number 8 is natural. So you can say clearly as to which layer it belongs to. This helps you in chronology, the dating of the place in a proper perspective if you get coins along with it. Now here is the latest, newest stratigraphy of your excavated Banavasi. This is one of the interesting objects found in the Chutu period. Look at the comb, ivory comb. It is the earliest ivory comb found in Karnataka. It has got that panel, sculpture panel. Here the comb in close quarters reflect a Mithuna couple seated in the corner. There, if you have, any one of you have gone to Kanaganalli Mahachaitya, seen the Mithuna couple on the large panels, especially Chimukha Shatavahana, these panels look very closer to this. Now, the Chutus were the experts of these beads. The crystal beads of different assorted sizes. Here are the flakes as well as beads in various shapes of finish, wherein we find that the carnelian, crystal, semi-precious stone, lapis lazuli, garnet, then we have other various materials, mostly on crystal, of various shapes, circular, cylindrical, dumbbell shape. For this lapidary industry of the Chutus, Sri Atavanas also interfered. Here we find lac beads, gold plated. First the lac bead was made, it was gold plated. To protect that gold covering, another lac covering has been given, which looks like the Mohanamale, which usually women wears. So these are the precious beads that have been made. Here we have this type of bead manufacturing paved way during the Kadamba period into making or manufacturing glass beads of multifaceted colors, different yellow, blue, green, painted, truncated, dumbbell shaped, different tracer beads. So this was during the Shatavahana Kadamba period. The Shatavahana Kadamba period intergram in the stratigraphy reveals you ಬಳೆಗಳು, ಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು, ಶಿಲ್ಪಗಳು, ಯಕ್ಷಿಯರ ಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು, ಕಿವಿಯ ಓಲೆಗಳು. These are some of the sculptures that has been found, the bangles and various beads and jewelries, trinkets, playing jinglings. these grinders, pounders, toys, then Hariti, then Bodhisattva. By 1st, 2nd century itself, there was a practice of having Buddha bracelets. It was the fashion. Bracelets of Buddha, wherein the head of Bodhisattva was also used. That one is the Bodhisattva's head with the bracelet, stupa in the crown. Why it is Bodhisattva? How it is Bodhisattva? A question is answered. There is a stupa in the crown. Now we have coins of the Shatavahana period. Then we have got copper coins, uncleaned. Here are the Chutu coins. These were the one which was found in the lower levels of the stratigraphy, followed by the Shatavahanas. So that's how we could come to a conclusion that Chutus were the first occupants of Banvasi, followed by overriding Shatavahanas, and later once again Chutus being subjugated by the Shatavahana, followed by the Kadambas. Chalukyas, who defeated the Kadambas, they directed, they could not come all over the way from Badami or Ayodhya or Patalkar. They directed the Alupas to take over from them and take care of protect the territory. In the first few stratigraphy, layer number 2 and 3, when excavated in the Vodayas backyard, we found this fish-scale design, fish-designed, oval-shaped seal of the Alupas. And trade and commerce were at a brisk pace even then, as indicated by these two seals of ram-headed nature, the seals that were found there at Banvasi, indicating it was still an affluent place. Next, the pottery, especially I have shown there were many types of potteries, black and red ware, black slip woodware, then ordinary red ware, then russet coated painted ware as you see in the photograph here, and many types of potteries have been found. This I did not go into the details since it is already a fairly knowledgeable subject to the August gathering. Next. Banvasi has been reported to having had many stupas in its northern periphery. Hyun records many stupas having been seen. Ashoka Maurya sends Rakkhita along with his children towards Banvasi and Ceylon. That is well recorded, literally, now well supported by the excavations. A Huvinagudda mound on the top of which, near the tree, this statue of Buddha was found, datable to 1st, 2nd century CE, and the excavation. Here you see that Buddha around of 2nd century. Look at that, the Veshma is held by him in his left hand and he is in Abhaya Mudra in the right hand. Next, this was the stupa mound before excavation and clearing. Next, this is during the time of clearing. Next, we started trenching here. Now to make you understand at one single glance, a new methodology of excavation had been adopted by me, stepped cutting. This stepped cutting, my guru was Dr. Sali of Aurangabad, who had excavated Daimabad, and I was one of his students at Daimabad. Yediyurappa, Daimabad were the early excavations I had attended and trained. Next, you can see at single glance the grandiose Huvinagudda stupa mound is put into speed with various layers clearly marked with greater details. Next, that is the depth which I have achieved, 7 meters. This is how the move stratigraphies, the earthen mound, the moves. So they were heaped. These layers clearly indicated earth was heaped gradually and a mound of 7 meters was created and made into a stupa. Next is Kadakod stupa, previous. This is the Kadakot Stupa discovered by Dr. Sundara in the forests of Kadakot, wherein it was a brick-built stupa of the Shatavahana times with layers of lateritic red gravel, and it is of 2.70 meters nearly. And here the bricks used are 44, 22, 8 and 8, indicating that these particular bricks were so beautiful. The local people have plundered and totally destroyed the stupa and had the satisfaction of just scraping the section and knowing the content of the stupa. This is one of the kilns that has been found at Banavase of Kadamba Shatavahana period, wherein that beautiful terracotta was found. Next, this is the terracotta that has been found. This is the only beautiful terracotta of 2nd century found in southern India. This is the kiln of pit where the clay was accumulated. This was the residence of the potter nearby, and this thing. These terracottas were found from this kiln. Next, Talagunda Praneshwara temple. Next, excavation was carried out by T.M. Keshava at the behest of Dr. Nambirajan, because this temple was to be dismantled and rebuilt, and we took a decision not to rebuild the temple unless we excavate the area and find what is there. Otherwise, these temples of the Kadamba period are usually not built with a foundation proper. So we had an accident at Balligave near of Someshwara temple, where the excavation was carried out. The conservation assistant overlooked the foundation part. He did not put barricades to the wall. The entire wall collapsed due to overnight rain, and that wall unfortunately fell on the labourers, and 2 labourers died. So I said, I won't risk. First let me put a trial trench. If it is worthy, we will go. That's how we put trial trench just at this 10 centimeters. We got 2 copper plates. One is the Kalathuri Sankama, and the another one is of Chalukya Vikramaditya. Now this copper plate has been found, we became alarmed. Naturally, Arey bhai, let us slow down. Let us excavate first and then find out what is there. This is the details of the copper plate of Sankama and the copper plate of bore insignia of Chalukya Vikramaditya. These were the gold Ane Gadyana that has been found at just 20 centimeters of Bhuvikrama and Sri Vikrama, and also Durvinita, 1 coin of Durvinita, and 13 coins, in which some of them were of Bhuvikrama and Sri Vikrama. This is Ane Gadyana. The history of Ane Gadyana is got minted by Durvinita. All those things are known for numismatists. Next. This is the general view of the excavation that has been carried out at Talagunda in front of Pranaveshwara. Please note that fine spot of Kakusta Varma inscription. And please note that central elevated platform Chandrashila. Behind Chandrashila there is a pit. There is a steps, there is a place of steps. Below the steps, in a pit, the inscription, which is highly disputed, is buried, lies buried. It is, the photograph is taken from the platform of Kakustavarma pillar inscription. So you can imagine, it itself is 1.5 meters. Further below another 1.3 meters, this inscription was found, indicating at a total depth of nearly 2 meters and more, this inscription, which is claimed to be just 50 years early, has been found. Next, this is the apsidal expanded portion of the Madhukeshwara temple, Mahadeva temple at Mahadeva as per the inscriptions in the early inscriptions. So, Pranaveshwara temple at Talagunda, the apsidal portion, you will see the expanded laterite portion, it was of Kadamba Ravivarma time. This was of the time of our Mayura Sharman. Next, you can see clearly the period 1 of the Shatavahanas, from the lower levels of which the coin, Chutu coin was, the Shatavahana coin was found, 14th coin was found, and here is the period 2A, wherein it was expanded. Then, after returning from Kanchipuram and finding out the bad state of preservation of the temple Madhukeshwara, Mayura Sharman got the entire temple renovated and got educated people to perform puja there, brought from Ahichatra. Next, this is the clear view of the expansion of the period 2A, the Shatavahana period, and the later expansion by the Mayura Sharman. This is the floor activity of time and again indicating frequent renovations and relaying of floors at the Garbhagriha region, Sanctum Sanctorum region. After confirming here that there are structural activity, I went in front and exposed that Mahamandapa. Next, many inscriptions and fragments of inscriptions have been found from this particular temple premises. Next, and the inscriptions are of even Chalukya, later Chalukya times. Santara, Vrutya, Chalukya, Ramanu, Bandha, Samasthana, these are all fragmentary inscriptions which are part and parcel of the various inscriptions that have been found in and around the temple complex. Next, please read that. When you read this, it is quite apparent what happens in the next few slides. Next, here we find the inscription is here like this. Next, it is like this. The mutilated piece was the inscription. The in situ piece is the stone, uninscribed part of the stone. This mutilated piece was found in a pit in this Chandrashila area. Those two Simha Katanjanas, they were restored by me. Arrow mark is there. Those two Simha Katanjanas were found disturbed, broken and fallen into pit, what I show in the next slides, and it was uplifted, cleaned, then reassembled and made like this for you to see. Otherwise, if I had left it as broken, it would have remained as a broken bit. It has not been allowed for photography or taking a stampage from the point of view that if not an expert does the stampage, the chances of dabber beating the stone hard will break once again this fragmentary inscription. That was the only concern, and ASI directed me to safely keep the inscription. Which is the place other than the Garbha of mother? So it was made once again Bhumigata. Am I clear now? Next. See here, the fallen inscription is gone into the darkness, the broken inscription is inside, and that is the Chandrashila. So, having found this inscription, at the same time kindly remember, Kakustavarma records in his inscriptions that the Mahadwara Tarikeshwara temple was redone, relaid, and a tataka was caused. So the tank that you see by the northern side of the temple of Talagunda was caused later by Kakustavarma. So when he made, he records it in inscription. So this particular Vedika of this Kakustavarman's pillar inscription covered this inscription. Excavation reveals, the stratigraphy reveals, the whole of the Vedika, part of the Vedika of Kakustavarman inscription covered this inscription. So naturally, with due respect, I bow and say the inscription found in the bottom of the pit above below Kakustavarman's inscription and the coin of Kakustavarman naturally is the Tata, grandfather of Kakustavarman's pillar inscription. It is just by 50 to 80 years it goes behind. If it is written properly, if our Uday Kumar takes the documentation, and if we go to Dr. Krishnamurthy's chart of preparation, the characters of the inscription, some of them, if not all, is datable to early parts of the period. Interestingly, ನನ್ನ ಧ್ವನಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಏನಲ್ಲ. The inscription as such gets predated, and a time and again, ಎಡಬಿಡದೆ, without fail, frequently, it is referred to as a mutilated inscription with letters of Kannada, and I cannot bring Chandassu, Vakya, ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ of Kannada ಭಾಷೆ. ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆಯ ಕೆಲವು ಪದಗಳು ಈ ಶಾಸನದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಇದನ್ನು ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅರ್ಥೈಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನನ್ನ ವಿನಂತಿ. ಇದು ಆ ಒಡೆದ ತ್ರುಟಿಗಳು ಇದನ್ನು ಸರಿಪಡಿಸುವ ಮುನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ಸ್ಥಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಿಸಿ ಈ ತ್ರುಟಿತ ಶಾಸನಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತ್ರುಟಿತವಾಗಿರುವುದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸಿಂಹಕಟಾಂಜನ ಶಾಸನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಸರ್. ನಾವು ಯಾವುದು ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳದೆ AACನವರು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಜಂಪ್ ಟು ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್. ಒಡೆದೋಗಿದೆ, ಗುಂಡಿಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ, ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಲಿಪಿ ಇದೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟೆಡ್, ಬ್ರೋಕನ್. ಈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್? ವಿ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್ that it is the same inscription and we have put it here. And location of the coin of Kakustavarma, Ka, Bede Kasu, the inscription was found almost at this depth, and here we can see the restored Mahadwara. You can see the distance nearly 80 centimeters. The period of Kakustavarman is 405 to 430. Inscription was found here, and this was the encasement given by Ravi Verma, and here we find the lowest levels going to the date of 325 to 350 because of the Adhisthana and the lower given around the temple enlarged by the Mayura Sharma. The period C3, next Agappa. The lateritic renovation made by Ravi Verma. Next, period 3 is followed by that beautiful gold coins, Anegadyana, found by of Durvinita, Bhuvikrama and Sri Vikrama, and it was found in the surface itself, lost nearer the entrance of the temple. Next, this is the side elevation of the whole excavation for you to know what is the position, what was the position of inscription, what was the position of the coin find, what is the nature of excavated remains at Talagunda. This is the reasonably scientific drawing prepared by me. The original drawings prepared at my instructions by one of my own staff later was denied by people of self-interest, which I could not produce. The whole temple was dismantled. The square temple was dismantled, and the huge apsidal plan with the Mukhamantapa has been exposed. Next, the inscription has been shown. When it was found, it is like this. It is difficult for anyone to read this inscription, understand it, and give a proper date. That is why there was, even though it was exposed in the year 2011, the first paper, the first article was written only in 2017. It took so much time for us to analyze and write about the inscription. Next, when given a facelift, the inscription reads like this. Now, after having seen Dr. Krishnamurthy's her lecturer yesterday on the paleography of early Kadambas, you might yourself come to a conclusion as to the possible date of 4th, 5th century AD to this inscription which I have excavated. Next, this is the inscription when properly treated. Next, another view. Next, now the same inscription which is in free handwriting, which is hurriedly noted down by the artist of the northern balustrade. He has recopied the same inscription and the name Chandraditya appears here clearly. The last slide is there, sir. Clearly as Chandraditya. You can read here that Dr. Sir wanted to know whether it is Chandraditya. Here unfortunately that top part, it is not top part, the Dya part there. Here it is fragmentary and broken because of the flaking nature of the inscriptions, because of very delicate nature of the inscriptions. They were not allowed to any scholar to be seen or battered around for taking stampages. Kshame irali. Next, early Kadamba is a huge thing. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ವಾಕ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತರೋಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ತ್ರುಟಿತವಾದ ಶಾಸನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಅಕ್ಷರಗಳಿವೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದರೆ ನಾನು ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನನ್ನು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದಂತೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಶಾಸನ ಓದ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಇಲಾಖೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಭೂಮಿಗೆ, ತಾಯಿ ಭುವನೇಶ್ವರಿಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ನಿಯತ್ತನ್ನು ಇದ್ದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಏನೇ ಲೇಖನಗಳು ಬರೆದರೂ ಅದು ತಾಯಿ ಭುವನೇಶ್ವರಿಗೆ ಸೇರಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು, ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರೋರು. ಹೀಗೆ ಭೂಮಿಗತವಾಗಿರಬಹುದಾದ ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆಯ ಪ್ರಾಚೀನತೆಯನ್ನು ಸಾರುವ ಕುಸುಮಗಳನ್ನು ವೇಗವಾಗಿ ಆಧುನೀಕರಣಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿರುವ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿರಿಯ ಪೀಳಿಗೆಯವರು ಕಾಲನ ಓಟಕ್ಕೋ ಸ್ವಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಅಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳ ಗುಂಡಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಮಚ್ಚಿನೇಟಿಗೆ ಬಲಿಯಾಗುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಇದನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯ ಗುರುಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ನಿರ್ದಾಕ್ಷಿಣ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕೊಂದುಬಿಟ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಗುಂಡು ಹೊಡೆದು. ಅದರ ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ಇಂದಿನ ಪೀಳಿಗೆಯವರು ಏಕಲವ್ಯದ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಿಂದ ವಿರಮಿಸದೆ ಹೆಕ್ಕಿ ಕನ್ನಡಾಂಬೆಯ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕೆಂಬ ಉತ್ಸಾಹ ಈ ಲೇಖನದಿಂದ ದೊರೆಯಲಿ ಎಂದು ಆಶಿಸುವ ತಿರುಮಲೈ ಕೇಶವ. ಈ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾದ ಪಾಡಿಗಾರರವರು, ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯ ಹಿರಿಯ ಕಿರಿಯ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು, ಜಯಸಿಂಹ ನನ್ನ ಬೆನ್ನ ಹಿಂದೆ ಜಯಸಿಂಹ, ಸಿ.ವಿ. ಪಾಟೀಲ್ರವರು ನನಗೆ ಈ ಲೇಖನಗಳನ್ನು ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿ ಟಂಕಿಸಿ ಓದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆಯ ಪೂರ್ಣವನ್ನು ಅವುಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ಲೇಖನದ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಿಕೊಟ್ಟ ಕಾರ್ತಿಕೇಯನಿಗೆ ನಮಿಸಿ ವಿರಮಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ.